Hey there, everybody. Hi.
Welcome to Get the You Factor. We're about to go live.
Yep, we have a full house today. Rick Chavez, Gabby, who I talk about all the time.
She's live.
She's here. There's truly a Gabby in my life. She's always Gabbyan. It wasn't false.
There, now they can see you, Mike.
What?
Now they can see you.
Now they can see me?
Now they can see you.
All right. Are we ready?
We are ready to rock and roll.
Got just about 60 seconds.
60 seconds.
Little more.
I got a farty chair.
How about them Yankees?
It's not the chair.
It's not the chair.
You just greased it.
Did you say the group was coming over for a
Yeah.
party? Okay, 20 seconds.
Dun, 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 dun.
You get the Jaws soundtrack going here. I can
Totally.
see Mike's fin creeping up.
3, 2.
Welcome to Get the You Factor with Mike Triggers and Nicholas Fordham. What is it that holds you from achieving greatness? Does greatness just come to those that are struck by lightning or have just hit that lucky streak? What really does make people achieve everything they want out of life? These questions span across the globe as millions of people settle into their life thinking that they don't have what it takes to truly get what they want out of life. Simply put, most people just give up on their dreams and aspirations to move forward with the repetitious habits that have been cemented around their lifestyle. Is this because they don't have what it takes to achieve their goals? The answer is no. You do have what it takes to accomplish anything you truly desire, and it starts with finding your inner you. With Get the You Factor, we go step by step in educating you on the key principles to achieve everything and anything you want out of life. By tapping into our resources and following along with our weekly broadcast, we will guide you through a journey of self-awareness and self-improvement. We will take you deep into your mind and determine what your mental blocks are that are holding you back from your true potential. You do have what it takes, and we are here to help you prove it to yourself. So how you doing this week, Mike?
Absolutely beautiful. It's been a great week this week. Gabby's on vacation. She gets to be here and see me be a fool of myself, you know, in person.
Hey.
She sees it all the time at home, but not at the radio show. So now she sees me here. And then our good friend and guest speaker that's with us today, a friend of mine that's been my friend for years back when I had my advertising agency. He was part of that, and we've been friends, and we are also a business partner on another company called IME Publishing, which is a publishing company. He's here as a guest speaker. We'll get into introducing him, Rick Chavez. Some of you may know of him already.
Hello, Rick.
He
How
and
are
I
you?
and his beautiful fiance spent the weekend together outlining a project that we're working on, and just some really good week. Just good times, man. 4th of July came. I saw fireworks. And that was just from my house.
Man, you got to love Independence Day, and God bless all those soldiers that are out there that are fighting to
Absolutely.
keep us independent. You know, the freedom of speech, to be able to be here on radio right now, you know, I definitely salute them.
Absolutely. Let's all salute them. Can't see. Well, I'm the live. Now you can see. So we're all saluting. So, yeah, it's been a great week. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of heat. Sacramento was filled with the heat. I spent quite a bit of time in the pool just to cool off a little bit. I felt like when I stick my toe in the pool, a little bit of steam came out and started to sizzle a little bit. And, you know,
Sure it wasn't lava?
yeah, I don't know. But, you know, it was good times. I saw a cousin of mine and an aunt that I haven't seen in years, and got to reconnect, rekindle, and you know, the holidays are great for that, to be able to get back in touch with family that you haven't seen in a long time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as we do in every show, we start out with the affirmation a day. Why don't you share with the folks that affirmation?
Absolutely. And again, this affirmation comes from Mastering the Mindset, The Power of Affirmations by Mr. Mike Triggers. And today's affirmation, remember, when I read the affirmation, you're going to want to recite it to yourself 3 times a day for the entire week until our next show. Now, what this does is this implants that affirmation into your subconscious So you start thinking about it without actually thinking about it. So you're going to want to read it out loud to yourself in front of the mirror, in the bathroom when you're getting ready in the morning, in your parked vehicle in the rear view mirror, or as you're walking down the hall passing a mirror. So the affirmation for the day is, I practice daily self-forgiveness. Again, I practice daily self-forgiveness. Each day I remember to forgive myself. I'm only human and therefore sometimes make decisions that I might not choose again. If the situation arose a second time, this is a natural part of life. Therefore, I practice daily self-forgiveness. If I ever find anger in my heart, I first ask myself, why am I upset? Do I feel any frustration over something I did or said? What was my part in the situation? After determining my role in events, I acknowledge my feelings and make amends whenever necessary. Then, I move quickly on to forgiving myself. I know that learning how to make good choices is part of becoming the best person I can be. If I deny any negative emotions, I likewise deny the teachings that come from those feelings. But if I embrace them and learn from them, then I have chosen to grow my challenges and become a better human being. In order to be fully comfortable facing up to my emotions, I know that I must be gentle with myself about them and also take whatever actions are needed. If I forgive myself readily, I can feel safe looking at any feelings of anger or frustration I may have. Therefore, I make sure to let bygones be bygones, especially with myself. Today, I practice self-forgiveness. I feel confident that with each new situation, I make better and better choices. I rest assured that regardless of the decision I make now, I can always forgive myself if needed, knowing this brings me great peace and serenity.
And as we always do with the affirmation, we have your daily reflection questions. These are questions that, you walk away and you want to think about throughout your day, and especially in regards to this affirmation. And the first reflection question is, do I forgive myself easily? Do I forgive others more easily than I forgive myself? So that's something to think about again. Do I forgive myself easily? Do I forgive others more easily than I forgive myself? So think about that. Number 2, how can I show myself love and compassion today? Once more, how can I show myself love and compassion today? And then number 3, are there specific situations where I could use some self-forgiveness today? Again, are there specific situations where I could use some self-forgiveness today? And the quote for the day, as you go out, and I want you to think about how you can apply this to your life, is a quote by Dr. David M. Burns, and it says, "Assert your right to make a few mistakes. If people can't accept your imperfections, that's their fault." Again, that's by Dr. David M. Burns. So, folks, today we've got a really good show, and we've got a really good special guest, a gentleman that I've known for a long time. And our show today is on 9 building blocks of personal empowerment. And we're going to get into some of that detail today. But I have a special guest, a gentleman that I've known since probably the late 80s, early 90s.
I think late 90s.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I mean, you forget about time as you grow. But Rick Chavez, for a lot of you, you may recognize the name, may not, was the sports announcer for Channel 11, 7, and 4. And then he was also the post-game for the 49ers, and then also the Sharks, and has had his own radio show, Business Talk Radio, which I was a guest years ago. That was kind of my first experience to radio, was through him. I was on his show, and of course they kicked us out of the building. We got too crazy. But Rick, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It's great to see you again and start working with you again, and great to meet Nicholas, and you've got a good thing going here.
And the crew.
Yeah, and the
right.
crew, exactly.
Yeah, so And then Rick and I have, we've joined forces and we've created a publishing company. By the way, my new book, I'm getting the first 200 copies this upcoming week with Barbara Corcoran, the co-authorship with Barbara Corcoran. So that'll be here. And then Rick and I started a publishing company called IME Publishing, and we're helping people that want to learn how to publish a book
Like
and be
myself.
self-published. Yep, like yourself. And we found quite a bit. But not only that, Rick and I have been working on a book ourselves, and the book is Managing Your Commitment, right, is the title, and doing what you said you would do long after you said you would do it. And so we've been co-authoring. We're almost done. We're actually getting ready to go into formatting and do the covers and all that stuff. So, Rick, today's a great show. We're going to be talking about, the personal empowerment, and really, are the folks out in the radio land, when you think about personal empowerment, it really, when you have personal empowerment, your passion overflows around you and into others. And and something I want you to think about as we go through this show today is, are you pleased with your life and the journey that you're on right now? And how do you spend your days? Do you spend it in empowering others and yourself, or is it a negative day by day? And do you engage in projects that bring fulfillment to you? And so that's what the show is about today. And so one of the very first topics on that is resolve to succeed. Rick, you've been around for a while. You've owned a couple businesses. You've talked to a lot of major celebrities and people, and part of that personal empowerment and having that mindset of succeeding no matter what. Can you tell me a little bit about what your thoughts of what that means?
Well, I think, I don't know if it's by accident or by design, but your affirmation today, practice daily self-forgiveness, that's actually one of the things that a lot of people don't do when they're starting a business, and sometimes they start and it fails, and they totally give up. Nicholas was saying before the show that sometimes he'll talk to people about their industry. He'll collect information from them. A lot of times they don't even know what they do. He has to draw it out of them, which is a good thing, because it allows them to see their own vision even better. But as far as resolving to succeed, you do have to have self-confidence, and sometimes you just have to kick yourself in the butt to get it going.
Absolutely.
Because we all have those moments when we're not quite all there as far as our confidence level goes. Sometimes it takes an outsider to see what our best qualities are and what our strengths are. I'm sure both of you, as you got this radio show up and running, you may have thought, although Nicholas probably has some background in radio, you still are stepping your toes into the water into something that's a little bit foreign.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you may have had that tiny bit of lack of self-confidence.
Yeah, well, even myself, I've never really, other than your radio show was my first time experiencing it. But when I was first coming to the show, I was like trying to research and try to find things on how to do a radio show, how to do interviews. I've always done public speaking. I'm great when it comes to the stage. I'm comfortable. I feel at home, right? But going into a room and speaking into a mic and have no clue what to say or how to say. I mean, I started listening to the radio because I'm not much of a radio person. I don't listen to the radio. I listen to a lot of personal development. So it forced me to start listening to these hosts. And Nicholas does a great job of hosting the radio show, and then I come in with the content and we play off of each other, and then special guests. But I was worried. I was scared. I was not sure of myself. And over time, now you can't get the mic out of my mouth, right? It's nonstop.
Yeah, he's nodding his head.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So, but
to tie it back into what I used to do when I was working with the 49ers and the TV news media, Harris Barton, Joe Montana, Ronnie Lott, those guys had no problems on game day. When it was time to strap on the helmets, they were on the field. They had all the confidence in the world because they had been training. They had drilled. They knew the plays inside out. They knew the defenses inside out. After their careers, they went into partnership where they formed a venture capital group, and it wound up failing. They got it going based on their names They got a lot of funding behind them based on their names, but the company wound up failing. So that's a totally foreign area to them. They had self-confidence in their own field, but once they stepped into somebody else's field, is a whole different ballgame.
Right, when they tried to do something and that maybe they weren't experts at, but because of who they were.
But it doesn't mean they couldn't become experts, because eventually Ronnie did, and Joe's very successful now. He's doing his thing. Just because you don't have self-confidence at the beginning doesn't mean you can't develop it.
Sure.
And you know, it takes the training to really get yourself to that point. I mean, one of my favorite players at that time, Jerry Rice. You know, how many games did he play before he even took one game off? That guy was an animal. And then the entire off season, he would just train and train and train relentlessly to make sure that by the time he came back for that next season, he had the courage behind him. Yeah. You know, and I was knee-high to a grasshopper back then. I'd go over there to Rockland during the spring training, and the little Dairy Queen across the street, that was my little vending machine in there, and I'd spit out little 49er cards, so everybody go over there, get the 49er cards, and go get autographs, you know, of course.
Right, because they were training up in this area.
But anytime you run across athletes like that, Roger Craig was a monster when it came to training. Jerry Rice, they used to challenge each other up at Stanford Dish. They'd run up the hill, and they'd challenge each other to see how many times they could do it. And that hill is no joke.
Right.
But these guys, they knew that if they weren't training, somebody from the Rams was, or somebody from the Saints was. And so when game day came, they knew that they had put in every ounce of effort that they possibly could. And if they lost to a better team. But they didn't lose because they weren't prepared.
Sure. And, you know, let's take it down to the average person. You know, someone that gets a brand new job, they don't know what they're doing the first day on their job. But over time and years to go by, now they can do it in their sleep, right? And it starts because they've developed that self-confidence. Well, where does self-confidence come from? From knowing what you want and what you want to do, which brings up the next thing is, you know, what does success mean? To a lot of people, it means different things, right? And so knowing what success is to you and what you need to do will build that self-confidence, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Well, you know, I feel success is a consistent and persistent pursuance of one's passion. And, you know, really true success is keeping it just out of reach.
Yep.
You know, where you can't quite reach exactly where your goals are. And you know, my mother always told me, and I've said it a couple times before, if you shoot for the roof, you're going to hit the cellar. But if you shoot for the stars, you're going to pass the roof.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to go to commercial break, but before you do, I want you to ask yourself this question. Success for me would be what? And that's what the question I want you to go away thinking about. And when we get back from there, we're going to go through the additional 8 building blocks and talk about that with our guest speaker, Rick Chavez, here on GettheYouFactor.com with Nicholas Fordham and Mike Driggers at One Talk Network and One Music Network. Talk to you soon.
We'll see you soon.
Hi there, Video Land people. They can still hear us, by the way.
All right, for those of you that are watching online, remember right now is behind the scenes. So if you were listening to the radio at OneTalkNetwork.com, that is broadcasted worldwide, you're actually going to be hearing commercials during the commercial break. But what you're seeing right now is behind the scenes, us prepping and preparing for when we get back from commercial break. So during this time, I want you to think about going to GettheYouFactor.com. Matter of fact, don't think about it, do it. Go to GettheYouFactor.com, register on the website.
Well, I think they're already there.
Listen to the rest of the shows.
They're already on Get the U Factor, right?
Wait a second. You've already taken the first step to getting your U Factor.
Yeah, so register. You're right there at the page. Go ahead.
Just scroll down. It's a button at the bottom of the page.
There you go.
So, Mike, tell them a little bit about what they get in the membership area.
All right. For those that, and we should talk about that on the radio when we come back as well, but in the back office, what happens is we have 2 levels, really 3 levels. You have your free resources, which is the show you get to see, and some blog articles that are coming out here soon. 2, you then, when register, you get to all the archive shows, but you also get to the downloadable ebooks and working books and checklists that we put with each show. And Nicholas is going to show you one, for example. They're already pre-made so that they're available and you can download. And then we have the next level, which we have 4 major trainings. One is champion's mindset. What's it take to have the mindset of a champion and to be able to do the things that you want to do and accomplish? We also have resolution revolution. Anytime is a good time to start your resolution. It doesn't have to be January 1st. And then also we have the winning ways and 365 goals. So every week you get something delivered to you to keep you on track, to develop your mindset to in each one of those categories. So we're going to take a break, go back, or actually we're going back live on the radio here.
Welcome back to Get the You Factor with Mike Triggers and Nicholas Fordham. Just before we went to break, we started talking a little bit about teams, team building, and you remember the days with Ronnie Lott, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana. You know, that was the dynasty team in my mind. You know, I know Kaepernick and the team today, they're doing some great things, but man, that was something that's a hard show to follow.
Absolutely. That was a dynamic duo of team, right? I mean, there was some great synergy. So as we went to break, we were talking about, you know, the definition of success, and I love what you said, Nicholas, because that's a perfect quote. You know, but really, what is success? You know, success comes in many forms. It could be making sure that your kids get through college and go on to a better life, right? It could be maybe just losing 20 pounds, right? Everybody has that success in their mind. A lot of it may be financial. I don't know. What do you think, Rick?
Well, success, I think, the building block of success is building a good foundation, and that can be in every area of your life: spiritual, financial, work-related. So if you build a good foundation, it's just like building a house.
Absolutely.
You know, so your success is mounted on that good foundation. So as you guys build your radio show, you get a good collection of guests, you get great content that can be passed along. You're building a foundation for the success of the radio show and whatever other endeavors you guys do. You and I are building a strong foundation of the publishing industry by looking for good content, revising it, perfecting it, and getting it out into the open market. So, but personally, you've got your own, you know, your own personal habits. That definitely leads to success.
Well, I like what you said, because, you know, having a well-rounded life, you know, you can build a 5-bedroom house, but if you're building one corner on marshland and another corner in sand, and you haven't laid the foundation, you know, that house is going to start falling apart. Right. So having that, and there's an actual training out there that I've seen that talks about I can't remember what they call it, but we'll have to talk about it on a future show, but it's like a circle of balance, like to show where you're at and balance in your life, right? And I have to pull that out one of these days, but it's a really good way to show. You know, part of what I believe in success is believe in positive things, having a positive attitude. You know, noticing and looking and carrying that positive attitude. I think that's important because it affects your mind. Right? I mean, Nicholas, you talked about the doctor with the ice, and we were actually talking about it a little bit before the show here. I think it was Max was bringing it up about the you know, that you talk the negative to the ice and the way the ice molecules would form, and then if you talk positive, well, positive has a major impact on people's lives.
And for those of you that don't know, there's Dr. Emoto, and basically it was a study that they took frozen water and they put frozen water in 2 separate rooms. They did a study of talking only negative to the water in one room and then only positive to the water in the other room. And then they looked at it through a microscope. The room that they talked negative to, the water molecules were all broken down and disfigured. In the room where it was all positive, they were like snowflakes. They were perfect. They were pristine. And if you take that into life, a human is made up of 80% water. So imagine what negative or positive thoughts, negative or positive actions, negative or positive feelings, that all affects you.
But an offshoot of that is you have to have a belief. It has to be real positivity. Okay. Some people try and fool themselves and pretend they're positive, pretend they're happy. So you do still have to go back to that foundation, and you still have to have a belief that what you're doing is right. And you're building on sending positive signals to yourself, of course, but they have to be true.
Well, and I think if everybody focused on trying to be positive, in other words, look
Yeah.
at the positive in everything.
Right.
Right. I mean, there's always like, even though we, a couple weeks ago I talked about going to Vegas and Allegiant, which you never want to fly. Oops, did I say that out loud? Anyways, you never want to
Positive about that.
Yeah. I'm positive. I just said that, right? So, but I had to look at the positive side from it. That there was a reason why. I don't know what the reason was, but what we did do is we went to lunch with the family. We hung out, and then, it kind of showed some things, and it was the fact is that the plane was leaking fuel out of the back, and we definitely didn't want to get on it, right?
Wow.
So who knows what happened? But there's always a positive to everything, because every action has a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So an example is that you may have a friend that you just got a promotion, that's your coworker, right? And they just got a promotion, and you're like, you could look at that and like, man, why couldn't I get the promote? Why didn't it happen to me? Well, here's an opportunity to say congratulations, because who knows? You now could say, okay, I have a good job, but now I'm going to make a great job and pursue the promotion that I want, right? And start focusing on the positive side. Things happen for a reason. Last week we talked about how we were riding high, and then all of a sudden the world took us down. I had to learn to be humble. And even all this negative, so the positive that came out of it was the fact that I became humble in who I was, and I could help others do the same.
And I think, there's a flip side to that too. Yes, you think positively, believe in positive things when times are tough, but then there's also the manifestation of your own reality. There's times in my entrepreneurial career there was times I didn't know I was going to be able to make the next payment or pay the next bill, and I just believed, I manifested that I was going to be able to make it through that circumstance or that issue, and it just magically appeared.
Right. And getting back to that job situation, if you're positive about a coworker getting a promotion, you may be next in line.
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
supervisors may be eyeing you to see, and you may be promoted beyond that level. But
Absolutely.
But if you're going to be down in the dumps because somebody else got a promotion, people see that. People read that,
Well-
and all of a sudden you're not a candidate anymore.
Yeah, it could be a test, right?
Exactly.
You never know. They
Yeah.
could be testing to see how you react.
What
to
is
the
this guy's
situation,
reaction going to be? Is
right?
he going to
There may
go
be a
down
better
in the dumps?
promotion for them,
Right.
Right, but they're watching, so you just never know. But at the same time, like you were talking in situations or anything, we talked about having that failure with the Niners. Look at it from a positive point of view. When you run across situations or things that you make mistakes on, these are just stepping stones to your
Right.
success.
Right.
It's the next level of what you need to do to get to where you want to be. Don't look at it in a negative way, because if you spend your energy in negative, you're going to get sick. You're going to start falling apart, and that's not somewhere where you want to be spending time. Absolutely.
And if you complain about the mud, you'll never get out of it.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great quote. I'll have to use that one. I'll have to write that one down.
Copyright.
Yeah, you got the copyright. All right. So, the next one, number 3, is, keeping your dreams fresh. I think this is a big one, because this is what drives the excitement and the things that you will happen, keeps you in that positive mode. When you have a destination, when you have an end destination, it keeps you motivated to get there, right? It gets you through, like you were saying, going through the situations and having a dream. The minute you stop dreaming, you're in wonderland. You're falling all over the place. And I always tell people that a dream is similar to a goal, or if you were to drive to New York from here without a road map. You've got to have a dream, right? You've got to have that end destination. If you don't have it, then how do you know you're not already there, right? So start dreaming. There's nothing wrong with it. Matter of fact, it makes you feel good. It gets the endorphins. I always dream, and I'm always having the kids dream. Like I asked, what would you do? What would you do if you had no money, right? Money was no option. You had all the money in the world, right? And you had all the time in the world, and you could do, what would be the 5 things you would do with the money? What would you do? And you get them dream. Which would you buy, right? And my stepson, he has an advantage right now, because he's got a good friend that dad's multimillionaire, and they're traveling over in private jets to the where'd he go? He went somewhere. Where'd he go?
Cabo.
Yeah, went to Cabo, and they saw
Where's my kid?
shark. Yeah, where's my kid? Yeah. I knew he's somewhere. He's somewhere in the ocean. No,
Yeah.
but he's back. But the point is he's living a lifestyle that he's never had really reached or has lived before, and he's starting to see this environment and being able to dream and know what that tastes like.
Right.
Right.
Well, I remember one of the first jobs I ever had. It was at Blockbuster Video. Remember when there was actually Blockbusters?
Yeah.
What's that?
VHS.
Was that an 8-track back then?
Yeah.
We'd do all those video scanning and all that. But I remember one time I go out on break, and this guy grabs me, and I don't know, he just saw something in me, and he says, "Hey, come here, I want to show you something." He has me jump in the passenger side of his Ferrari, and he drives it around the block, and this is over in Laguna Boulevard, over in Elk Grove, and he's just hitting the corners and driving around and brings me back, and I don't know, we hit it off a previous time when he was in there renting a video, and he just wanted to instill that in me. He says, if you work hard, if you go after your dreams, if you go after your passions, this is what you're going to get. And it changed my life.
If I've got a chance to relate a story, there was a pastor named Wayne Cordero who came in from Hawaii, and he told a story one time about he was headed to the church to do a talk at our church, and he said, this morning I drove past the most valuable plot of land in the world. And we're trying to think, we're here in Silicon Valley, we're thinking Apple, Google, where was it? He says, it was the cemetery. Everybody raises their eyebrows like, what's he talking about? He says, well, that's the richest place in the world because that's where all these dreams have died.
Wow.
People who never acted on their dreams.
Wow.
All the book ideas, all the video ideas, all the inventions that somebody didn't act on. They dreamt about it all their life, but they never acted on it. He said all those dreams are buried forever.
That's awesome. That's a great story. And people are dying to get in there, too.
There you go. Yeah.
Crazy.
They don't have a ghost of a chance.
No, but
But no, the point is, I mean, look at Silicon Valley. It's rich with, it wouldn't be Silicon Valley without dreams.
Exactly. I mean, we wouldn't have what we have right now to do this show if it wasn't for somebody who dreamed.
Right.
Right. And something that helps with dreams is I used to use vision boards, and these are just putting up pictures of things you want. Now I've changed it, and I've actually, one of the books that we're working on is the vision journal, where you carry your dreams, pictures, and you write goals on it with you wherever you go. Right. Looking at them instills into your mind. Right. And if you visualize and see yourself having that, if you visualize seeing your checkbook or your bank account with several zeros behind it, right, that has millions of dollars, if you can envision what it is that you looking fine and thin and six-pack, I always say I got a 12-pack.
Keep dreaming.
Hey, this is a cake just covering up the 12-pack, right, or a six-pack. Anyway, so, and then talk about your dreams. Share with others, I think, is important, too, because people can help motivate you with your dreams, right? And this is part of the empowerment, and devote your time, like the bucket list, right? All that really is a list of things that you want to do before you die, right? Going back to the most valuable land in the world.
And that's what you talked about before, was you talk about it, it manifests. I mean, you've got to get the ball rolling yourself. You talk about it, you dream about it, and don't put it to rest. Don't give up on it, because the worst you can do is fail.
Yeah.
And you just start all over again on something else.
Yeah, I mean, if you do fail, so
what?
Start over.
So what?
So what? Don't give up. Let's look for the positive.
Yeah.
It's stepping stones to go where you need to go.
Keep dreaming.
Yeah, exactly.
I read a book when I was younger, and a lot of people know this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey.
Yeah.
And, he talks about the goal setting, which, none of us really fully get into the goal setting of daily, weekly, monthly, all of that. But what really hit me is daily doing something mentally, physically, social, emotionally, and spiritually, but then writing down your top 10 goals in life. And in the book, it says to put them away in a safe deposit box after you've recited them to yourself for 30 days. Well, what I did, I flipped the script. I said, well, I want to be held accountable for this. So, learning as a web developer, I had just gotten a hold of this platform called Joomla, and I developed this entire social network in there. And I figured, what better place than to put it on my own personal profile? Now, every one of the users that joined my website, and I was Tom, their first friend, they could see what my goals were. And surprisingly enough, it works. I was able to cross off a few of those a year later.
Oh, you know what? We should write down goals for our Get the You Factor and where we want to be and do, and put it up there so when people subscribe, they get a list of what our goals are.
By doing that, you are the oddball, because most people don't want to be held accountable. They have New Year's resolutions they'll make, and 2 weeks later they're broken, but they don't want to be held accountable. So that's commendable that you put it out there for other people to see and hold you accountable, because most people don't. They don't want to risk that because they know they're going to fail.
Right.
Well, I mean, and it goes back to this section: change your mind and change your life,
which is number 4 of the 9. I think, mindset is so critical, and the first thing you need to do is really acknowledge where you are today. Where are you, and are you where you want to be? Right? Most people are not where they want to be. And how hungry are you to move forward? I have this story that I talk about, and I shared about that hound dog, right? This hound dog sitting on a porch, and as I walked up to the porch, the hound dog's all right, and you're like, what the heck, right? And you get closer, and the hound dog, and you're like, okay. So now I'm walking up, and I see this old man rocking, and the hound dog's laying there, and what's wrong? What's going on? I'm looking at this hound dog, and it's all, and you're like, look at the guy, and I asked him, I said, something wrong with your hound dog? And he said, nothing wrong with my hound dog. And I'm like, well, why is he whining? Why is he all the time? And he says, because he's sitting on a nail, right? Sometimes it hurts so bad that we'll complain about it, but we won't get up and do something about it. And that's where you've got to change the mind. You've got to take action, outline your dreams. You got to do the things to move forward.
Yep.
So what are some of the pros and cons of discovering your mindset? I mean, they're one thing, you may not be happy with what's been happening.
Well,
in your life.
and that is part of it, changing your life. I mean, I got to a point myself where I went through a bankruptcy, and my bank account had a lot of zeros, but they were all on the wrong side of the.
They were after the negative.
Yeah, exactly. So I went through all that, and part of it was obviously most of the fault was mine, but I had a business partner who scammed me for $250,000, so that set me back a lot. But I was hanging around with the wrong people, hanging around with people who didn't want to grow. And Mike and I had this discussion on the way up here today, is when you hang out with positive people who are growing, moving, dreaming, and are looking at the future, then you're going to be one of those same type of individuals. When you're sitting around talking about hanging out with people who are negative, complaining, not growing, falling backwards, then you're one of them.
Absolutely.
So that's changing your mind to change your life, because you have to have a different focus on whatever you were focusing on before. That's your fault. That's your fault.
Right.
You were focused on it. Nobody focused on it for you. And as you move forward and you get together with more positive people who are looking to grow, then you're going to develop the same mindset as them.
And, I love the saying and quote that, if you say it's not going to work, it won't.
It won't. Yeah.
If you say it will, it will. Either way, you're right. It's just what path. And you and I was working on that chart, the 30-day tracking chart, to show your success or not as you go through in your activities. And you could keep doing the simple disciplines over and over and lead to success, right? Or do the wrong simple disciplines over time and lead to failure and so on.
And the gap gets wider and wider as you go.
Exactly. And it's a major difference in lifestyle. It's a major difference between success and failure, and being able to do that.
I think the hardest thing, though, for most people is really discovering what their dreams are. And they're so set on having to know their exact perfect dream that they forget to realize that it's okay to change your dreams.
Yeah.
You can change them anytime along the journey in your destination, But once you get that dream, that becomes your compass. And now that you've got that compass and a direction in your life, then you can really change your mindset to go after what you really want. And that's the next section in the book, is to take action. Go after what you want.
For me, I had a dream to be a jockey, but that didn't work out.
The horses were praying.
Yeah, the horses prayed that I didn't come.
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back with our good guest speaker and good friend Rick Chavez. And here at Get the You Factor, we're talking about 9 building blocks of personal empowerment. And we're going to get into the next 4 to 5 of those here in the next 20 minutes of the show. So we're going to go break, and we'll talk to you soon.
We're watching it on the phone, and we're seeing how there's a delay.
Mm-hmm.
Because he went over there and I couldn't see him, and then he kept moving.
Well, she said, you know, you could see her, and she
I'm
was
like-
sitting there.
I'm like,
So I
I'm
was
moving
trying
my
to go
foot.
over here, and we didn't see. So it's like a minute delay
Yeah.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
that comes through. So I'm back over here, and all of a sudden I show up.
Yeah.
Is it still on your phone?
Yeah.
Can you bring it over here? Just show it
It's
to
the
everybody
streaming.
on,
Oh, that's gonna be
on the
trippy.
camera. Bring it up close to the camera so everybody can see
And
it.
get some reverb.
Right up there.
See, we're on the show, on the show, on
There's
the show.
our delay. The show on the show.
We're in the show, on the show.
So for those of you that aren't listening and driving down the road, remember you can pull out your mobile phone and listen to Get the You Factor.
That's right. Get the U Factor. You can get it on your.
And if you're not listening, you're not hearing what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, what'd you say?
Yeah.
Pardon me. You can get it on One Talk Network. You can get the Radio Loyalty app and play it on your phone, your iPad, tablet, computer, all the good stuff. Uh-huh. So. So, good job.
Man, it's cooled down a little bit.
You
Yeah.
think?
Finally.
I'm still
Ooh,
sweating.
he
I
stopped.
don't know what
She
you're
stopped
talking
farting. That helps.
That helps.
Oh, now that heat cloud left.
Yeah.
45 seconds.
Oh, here, let me bless y'all.
Yeah,
That's
thank
okay.
you.
All right.
You're
on-
still on.
You
How many
guys did
seconds?
not hear this.
How many seconds?
Yeah.
5.
That means you're
Yeah.
really live.
That's causing the delay.
30 seconds.
I'm bringing matches next time.
No, candle, Yankee candle.
I shouldn't have eaten that lizard.
Dun-dun-dun.
This is a small room.
Dun, dun.
15 seconds. 10,
He's barely, see, he's waving barely. The paper.
5.
Welcome back to Get the You Factor with Mike Driggers and Nicholas Fordham. You know, we're talking right now about 9 building blocks of personal empowerment. And where we're at right now is taking action. Go after what you want. You know, I remember when I launched the website, the social network site that I had built, and I put my top 10 goals in life, one of the things I did is I had a rotating video playing on the front of the site, and it was all motivational speakers. And I remember this one speaker, he was talking about a story of Mr. Successful.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he said that Mr. Successful was out giving a speech. And he was giving a speech about whatever it took to become successful, but he didn't really give the explanation of how to become successful. So one of the guys, let's call him Joe, he waits around till after the seminar's over, and he walks up to him and he says, Mr. Successful, I got a real quick question. How do I become successful? And Mr. Successful says, well, Joe, I'm sorry, I'm in a hurry. I really got to get out of here real quick, but here's my business card. Give me a call, and I'll tell you your answer. So Joe goes home. He's super excited, tells his friends. He says, man, I'm going to find out how to become successful. And he calls, and he gets the receptionist and tells her, hey, I need to set an appointment. I need to speak with Mr. Successful. Well, a day goes by. He doesn't get a call back. So he calls again. And he gets the answer machine. He leaves a message. A couple more days go by. No phone call. Pretty soon Joe's like, forget it. You know what? I don't want to become successful. I'm just going to sleep in, forget about life. Very next day at 6 in the morning, his phone rings. Who's on the other end? It's Mr. Successful. Now, Joe lives about an hour from the beach, and so Mr. Successful says, Joe, I need you to hurry up, get dressed, meet me at the beach in an hour and 15 minutes. Well, that gave him 15 minutes to get ready. So Joe's heart's racing. He jumps up out of bed, gets his suit on, best shoes, and he races down to the beach, and he gets there, and sure enough, he's there. He's excited. He's finally going to get his answer. But the funny thing is, as Joe starts walking towards Mr. Successful, he keeps taking a couple steps backwards. And pretty soon, Joe's like, what is going on? Is he playing games with me?
Mm-hmm.
Then pretty soon, Mr. Successful's in the water, and Joe's at the edge of the water. And he's thinking, what do I do now? And Mr. Successful nudges to him to come on in. So Joe decides to take that leap of faith, and he puts his best shoes into the water. And pretty soon he's waist to waist in the water with Mr. Successful, and he looks at him, and there's that awkward silence, and he says, Mr. Successful, how do I become successful? So Mr. Successful grabs Joe, and he dunks him under the water. And Joe's thinking, man, is this guy religious? What's going on? And pretty soon he's running out of air.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to get up, and he starts to struggle. And Mr. Successful's not letting him up. He's like, man, this guy really doesn't like me. And pretty soon, as he's about to let out his last breath of air, Mr. Successful pulls him out of the water. He says, Joe, that's how you become successful.
When you fight hard enough to breathe.
He says, I don't get it. Mr. Successful says, if you want success as bad as you want to breathe, that's when you become successful.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Right? And it goes to what? Taking action.
I mean, it reminds me of Michael Phelps. I mean, not that he was held underwater, but he trained and trained and trained and trained. I mean, Olympic athletes are probably the most focused and dedicated athletes that I've ever run across, because they do have that singular goal, that one purpose, and they train for 4 years before they get a chance. And sometimes it's a 10-second race, and sometimes it's a series of races, but they get one shot at it.
Well, think about that. 4 years of training to end up for a race that is a matter of a fingertip in some cases, or two strokes.
Yeah.
Right?
It's usually a hundredth of a second.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is that, first off, everybody out there in Radio Land, first you need to know you deserve to have the life you want, right? And I always say that, God, He wants me to live rich. He doesn't want me to live in hell while I'm here, because I know I'm going to heaven, but He doesn't want me to live in hell while I'm down here. He wants me to have a good life. He wants me to be rich. And I'll tell you, is that when you truly connect with the fact that you're entitled to have everything that you want, those feelings will push you forward towards the empowerment. Right? It's not till you accept it and understand it that you deserve to have a good life. You deserve to have the life you want. You just need to get out there and do it, and take action. And that's probably the most powerful part of this whole thing, because a lot of people will dream, but they don't take the actions or the steps to do it.
Right.
Absolutely. And let's be honest. I could sit there and I can meditate. I can, put my index with my thumb and manifest my reality and think about success and imagine that it's going to happen. But is it going to happen? No. You've got to work for it. You got to be willing to work hard to go after that success. It's more than just a belief. It's more than just a manifestation. It's more than just setting your goals and setting your compass and your destination. You've got to go out there and get it. And by doing that, you have to work hard for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a new job, you can send out a resume or not. I mean, you can sit on the couch expecting somebody to knock on your door and say, hey, I've got an $80,000 engineer job for you. Or you can get off the couch and go out and make some things happen. And a lot of people think, I deserve a job, so it's just going to happen. I'll just pray for it.
Absolutely. And you and I, this weekend we were together, we were talking about, I'm not a writer. Matter of fact, I've got hillbilly knees writing, right? And my ADD, HDD, with my BMW, yeah, exactly. I'm not a writer, but I knew I wanted to write a book. And one thing, Gabby knows, and I know once I have something in my mind, I'm like a pit bull. I am on it and going. I take action. And I said I was going to write a book, and now I'm 3 books later. I'm working on our 4th one, and we've got more coming right? And yet I knew nothing about publishing. I knew nothing about writing a book. I just had a dream that I was going to do this. Now, my first book didn't sell a lot. I made a couple grand, 3 or 4 grand. But what it brought me,
You made some inroads.
I made some inroads that brought me several $100,000, right? And had I not taken these steps to go learn, and you know what? Fall down. I fell down through the process. I learned a lot that's helped me with my even my second book. I get my second book from the publisher, right? And it's got misspellings on the spine. And I'm like, what am I going to do with it, right? They misspelled mindset, right? So I had to deal with that. And what do I do? I've got 3,000 copies sitting in a garage. What do I do with these? So I started giving them away free as a pre-press to spread the word. But the publisher's reprinting all of them, and they're going out to the book market. But again, I failed. I fall downs, but again, I failed my way to success. Those were stepping stones, but it would not have happened. I would not be where I'm at today had I not taken action.
Right.
And that's the key, right? If you don't take action towards something you dream or passionate about, or things that you deserve in your life, you're never going to know what it's like to have it.
Well, that's a perfect example that you talk about right there. You started something small. It's better than not starting anything at all.
Right.
But the thing about it is you were so passionate and driven to write a book. Once you got a couple books into it, you were like, okay, the books are moving. Now I need to change my compass, change my destination, change my dreams a little bit, go after something else. And you went after radio.
Well, not only that, the book opened the doors to things that you hadn't anticipated before you wrote the book.
Absolutely.
So you followed a goal, you reached it, and it resulted in things that you hadn't planned that were good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good offshoots.
Even to the point where it led me to say, I started discovering that everybody else wanted to know how to write a book, and then they were asking me how I was doing them so quick,
Right.
which then led me to say, hey, I need to start a publishing company and teach people. I want to teach people how to do this. And I call upon my friend Rick, because I knew that he was a good editor and content writer, and he did all my script writing for videos in my advertising agency, and he's a great at video production, and matter of fact, for contract work, if you ever need to, you definitely need to get a hold of Rick Chavez. Rick, give him your website right quick.
ChavezMedia.com.
Yeah. So, but I reached out to him. I said, Rick, here's what I've been doing, and look, I want to do this. What do you think? And Rick fell in love. He'd been wanting to do something similar, and I told him, and so now we've partnered up on this. But that came because I'd actually took action.
Right.
Right. So
Zig Ziglar had a story one time. He said to his audience, he says, if I told you that tomorrow I would take you to Hawaii to play golf for a week, could you get ready? And everybody raised their hand. He said, raise your hand if you think you could be ready by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning to go to Hawaii and play golf. So they all raised their hands. And he said, you'd have to get all your house cleaned, everything ready to go. And so he saw these hands raised, and he says, okay, so why don't we do that every day of our lives? Why don't we pretend that every day of our lives we're going to Hawaii tomorrow and get our work done? It's all part of working hard. Why does it take something that special to get our work done?
absolutely.
We prolong and we procrastinate and we wait forever. Every day we could be accomplishing something.
Absolutely.
It doesn't take a trip to Hawaii to accomplish something. Shouldn't.
It's changing that mindset, right?
Yep.
Which is what we're talking about. And the next one, number 6, is really be willing to work hard. Right? No, we one of the things that I've always said to people is that I'm not the most well educated. I have life experience, right? I've been in a school of hard knocks. My colors were red, white, and blue, right? But I've always said that I know that I can be more successful than that person because I know I can outwork them. Be prepared to work hard. And it may not happen overnight. Sometimes it does, right? But you've got to be willing to put the time and energy into it. It may take a year, it may take 2 years. I mean, putting this radio show together, we had some frustrations, we had some things that were, but we kept consistent and kept, and I kept pushing, and then I was pushing Nicholas, and I was pushing Bill, and then finally guess what? Right? And we're not 100%. We still need to upload things on the video. We need to get the membership open, and we need to. So we're still pushing forward, and we're working forward. By the way, if you haven't, make sure you register at GettheYouFactor.com and get to all the great materials and videos with the past videos, and also the workbooks and the checklists on the back. But you've got to work hard, folks. No matter what, you can't get it easy. And I can tell you that everyone that I know that's ever gotten it easy has lost it. A good example is look at the lottery.
Right.
People that win the lottery, they win millions of dollars, and with years
They're
later,
broke 2 or 3 years later.
2 or 3
Back
years,
where
they're
they started.
bankrupt. They're
Because they have that mindset.
Yep.
They have the poor mentality, and they can't handle the riches. And before you know it, they're back where they started.
And most importantly, they didn't know what it took
Right.
to make that type of money.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If you know, like I know millionaires, and a good example is you look at Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump went bankrupt. And yet, what happened? Because he knew what it take to make millions, he's right back up because he went and did it, and a lot quicker than the first time. Because once you know what it takes to make millions, a lot of people can't conceive making $20,000, $30,000 a month.
Right.
When I talk to them and tell them about the type of income I make, they're, wow, are you kidding? No, but they can't conceive that until you do. I lost everything. And then I had to start over, and I did, and guess what? Boom, right, I'm back up, right? I'm running and working. So, you really have to work hard, and it's the journey. I've said it before. It's the journey to success is really who you become. The next thing is, number 7 is, doing something. Starting is small is better than not sharing all. And I think that's what you were talking about recently, was that, start something on a small task, build towards that, little stepping stones. Darren Hardy's got a great book called Compound Effect. And he talks about doing the simple things and the simple disciplines over and over, and increasing the amount of what you want to do. An example, if you wanted to stop drinking caffeine, you don't go cold turkey, because your body's going to go through withdrawals or whatever. And if you're doing 2 or 3 Cokes a day, drop to a Coke a week, or one a day. And then after that week...
That's Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah, Coca-Cola, yeah. We'll make sure we're clear on that, yeah.
Hell of a soda.
Yeah, that's sure. Yeah. But, well, hey, even if it's that, you want to get off of it, right?
Yeah.
Do one a day, and then, you know what? Drop it down to 1 every 3 days in a soda, and then from there, go down to 1 a week, and then from there, go to 1 2 weeks, and then eventually, guess what? I don't drink any soda anymore. I drink water, but I did that, and it worked. I don't have withdrawals or anything.
Well, I think Ralph Waldo Emerson, he said it's not one long race; it's many short races, one after another after another.
Absolutely. Which then goes to number 8. Keep moving forward. Right? Keep moving forward. Maintaining your list, keep maintaining your dreams, keep planning, and focus on what it is that you're trying to do. Keep that vision board. Keep pushing. You know what? Fall down. Guess what? Get back up and go to work.
In baseball, teams go into slumps every so often. The Giants are having a big slump right now, but they regain their footing, win a few games, and they're continuing to move forward. So they're going to be a contender because they've got the mindset. They've won 2 championships in the last 4 years, so they've got that mindset that they can put it back together.
Here's what I know. If you're consistent and persistent, if you keep chiseling at that mountain, that rock, chips will start falling away to where it'll break, and you can go right through it. Right? And that's the key. You can push it all day long, but until you chip at it, 1 day at a time, one minute at a time, one chip, you're going to break through and get to your destination. So you got to keep moving forward. And then,
well, even once you get through that point, you're moving forward, you got momentum, you're going. The naysayers are going to come out.
Yeah,
they're going to say, no,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way you're gonna make money on that internet thing. It's never going to make money. You should go get a real job.
You know what? Good friend and mentor that I've been learning from, Brandon Burchard, calls them troll people.
Yep.
Right? I call them crab people. Rick and I were talking about this. Is that Rick knows that in a bucket of crabs, when crabs try to crawl out, the other one pulls it down, won't let it. and then he'll try to get up, and then another one will pull them down. And that's what those people are, the naysayers, or the crab people. They don't want you to grow beyond them. And you've got to limit yourself to those type of people. So.
That gets back to the 5 people you hang out with.
Yep, exactly.
You're going to hang out with crabs? Yeah, you become the average of those crabs.
The biggest thing you don't want to do is give away your power, because you guys, you work so hard to get it.
So why don't we're at the top of the hour here. We're going to close out. Typically we ask, what it is. How many minutes I have, by the way? Where are we at?
About 30 seconds.
Go ahead and close this out, folks.
All right, you guys. So, again, remember, this show is all about awakening the inner you. Throughout the course of our educational radio video broadcast, combined with our online educational material and workshops, you will discover what has been hiding inside of you all along. Our program is built specifically for you to help you get what you want out of life. You will be presented with key fundamentals that will guide you through anything in life and help you to respond in a different way, a new way, a way you factor to be the best possible way for you. So you know what? Get the you factor.
And Rick Chavez, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for the invite.
Yep. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.
Boom. All right. Thank you guys
Sweet.
for watching in the online world. We'll see you guys later.